حياكم الله يا شباب في EE234 أنا عبد العزيز البيضان درسكم المادة هذه إن شاء الله الفصل هذا. Before we start, let me start with a point, okay? And I'm going to keep it very clear, inshallah, okay? I'm not going to tolerate any attempt to cheat during quiz or major or final. Any attempt will be taken very seriously to the maximum extent of punishment. We are a trusted organization in the kingdom, and they trust our output. Any attempt to cheat during quizzes, major exams, final exams will be taken very seriously. Allahumma ballagt, Allahumma fashhad. Okay? Enough talking about it. واضحة? Let's start with the course. I know you guys are forced to take this course. Most of you are mechanical engineering students. Some of you are software. A couple of you are aerospace engineering, right? I know most of you are kind of forced to take this course. There is stigma about this course that we're mechanical engineers, why we take it? Is it waste of time? Is it waste of energy? Is it a waste of resources? No. I think it helps you the most as a student graduating in mechanical engineering or aerospace engineering or even software engineering. I checked the names. Who's non-mechanical? You do not have to take the lab, صح?
No.
You don't, okay. Non-mechanical? All of you are mechanical? Okay, if you're aerospace, make sure this counts to your degree. If you are software, I think one of you is software. I'm not sure if it counts. Please check with your academic advisor if it counts or not. Okay? So the title of this course is Electronics and Microcontrollers. The title is misleading. If I want to rename it, I would call it Electric Circuits, Electronics, and Digital Design. Now for the lab, we have microcontrollers, Arduino, and other things, okay? So think of it as circuit 1, plus some electronics, plus some digital design. Digital design اللي هو المنطق الرقمي. Binary signal 1011, جداول الصدق, truth tables, true, false statements in electronic form, okay? My name is Abdelaziz Beban. My office is in this building, 0028, lower floor. Anytime you come to my office, you find the door open, please come. Okay? Anytime. You don't need to ask for an appointment. You do not need to stick with the office hours. Anytime you walk by, you find me there, you're welcome to come. This is my account in X. You can send me. I cannot give you my phone number. You can send me or email, Teams. Those are the 3 communication methods. The office hours are to be decided, so when do you want your office hour? If I put it 9 a.m., none of you will come, I know. Is it 1 to 2 p.m. good? Okay, maybe we'll make 1 or 2 days a week, 1 to 2 p.m. Maybe Thursday, same day of the lecture, so you don't have to come twice, okay? Now, we will have help sessions during the semester, etc. Okay, the textbook, it's already in the OneDrive, I put it. Did you guys access the OneDrive? Okay, try to access it. If there is a problem accessing it, let me know. And please write your names for attendance. Now, the classwork is at 25%. We will have 19% on quizzes. I will drop the lowest quiz. Okay? So if one day you don't want to do a quiz, don't come, okay? So that will be if we have, they will have equal grade, but I will drop the lowest quiz, okay? Homework 6%. Try to solve the homework by yourself. 2 major exams, exam 1, exam 2. And now again, cheating in quizzes, exams, final exams, very serious. Let me repeat what I told at the beginning because some of you come. I will not tolerate any attempt to cheat during quizzes, major exams, final exams. Why? Because it's not fair to other students. We will not allow the phones, smart watches. Maybe we will allow some sort of, if the course coordinator, who is Dr. Hussein Atiyah, maybe he will allow a cheat sheet, maybe, I'm not sure. But we will work on it. This is very serious. I don't need to repeat it again. We'll take very aggressive action. It could be dismissal from the university. Okay? You have 9 unexcused absences. The first 5 are free. 6, 7, and 8. Each time you will lose half point. Now for the late, if I see you're coming late all the time, we'll start taking off points. I'm still thinking about the policy, but technically speaking, if you come 10 minutes after the class beginning, it's kind of absence. That's the policy. If you come 10 minutes after the lecture, it's absence. If you come within the first 5 minutes, I mean, it's okay. But after 5 minutes, I'll start taking late, okay? But don't come 5 minutes late, please. Don't disturb the class, okay? Now, if you keep coming 11:04 every time, I'll tell you, okay? Do not come 11:04, 10:04 every time. Exams are most likely multiple choice questions. Why? Because it fits your level, 2 level. Level 3 will start more problem-solving questions, but for the MCQ, even if you do the whole process right, there is no partial credit. So either you get the right answer or not. That's why we are very strict about cheating policy, because cheating is easier with MCQs, and we will enforce it to the maximum extent. Please, لا تحطوني في موقف محرج حتى ما يصير في أي مشاكل. تمام؟ تفضل. I don't know. The quiz, we will think about it. But in the final exams and what I know is the major exam is most likely is going to be MCQ. So start solving the old exams in the OneDrive. I already put them there. Okay. Now, any question about the policy?
Yes. How many quizzes do you have?
I don't know. It could be 5, it could be 6, but we will drop the lowest. So if you have 6, we'll count the highest 5. We'll drop the lowest. Why? Because if you get absent in that day, you don't lose 3%. That's the reason. Haram yani صراحة. That's my belief. So we will drop the lowest quiz. So don't worry. Now if you have excused absent, and you miss the quiz, we will do makeup quiz. Unexcused, no makeup quiz. Okay, that's why I allow 5 free absences, because most likely you will have a quiz, and if you repeat it the second time, you will lose the points. Now, if you have certain circumstances, maybe you slipped. I mean, once in a blue moon, I will allow you to come to the 11 a.m. That's okay. Come on. Maybe you will have 1 free pass to attend the 11. 1 or 2 passes. Same for the 11, I will allow them to come here if they want to read there. I'm very flexible, guys, when it comes to attendance. But I'm not flexible when someone abuses the system and try to come late and disturb the class. Please, we have 50 minutes, time is limited. Okay? Any question about the policy? Okay, regarding the courses coordinated, the grades will be, the cutoff points will be same for all sections. Which means if you either in a very high average section or very low average section, now the classwork, because we have different classworks, maybe it will be averaged among the 2 sections that I teach. I teach 2 sections. Dr. Ahmed teaches the 8 a.m. section. Dr. Hussein Atiyah teaches the female section, which is, I think, 8 a.m. Okay? So I want you guys to get the highest average among all the sections. Okay? Please. Get the highest average. I'm going to prepare you for the test. I am personally going to deliver help sessions before the major exams. In person and online, we'll be recording it. Most likely I will post the videos on YouTube so that you can view it in a private link so that you can revise it. Or if you missed the class, you will be able to watch it again. Okay? So let's walk over the syllabus. Weeks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We will cover topics in electric circuits. Okay? We will start, for example, this week by overview of electrical engineering. We will talk about what is voltage, what is current, what is KVL, what is KCL, and then we will talk about circuit elements. We'll talk about the resistors, the network analysis, the mesh analysis, the loop analysis, etc., voltage divider, current divider rules. We'll talk about nodal analysis, mesh analysis without dependent sources, and with super node and super mesh. We'll talk about Thevenin Norton equivalent circuit, maximum power transfer, superposition. We'll talk about capacitors and inductors. Capacitors and inductors, they are energy storage elements. They store energy. It means they exhibit non-linear behavior. Non-linear behavior, it means the equations are more bulky. Okay? So when you see a resistor, when you see a resistor, it's linear device, equations are much easier. When you deal with inductor or capacitor, we will be dealing with AC signals, okay? And then we'll talk about power and AC circuit, Thevenin equivalent, and we will not cover power factor in the book. So I think major exam 1 will cover maybe up to week 5 or 6, maybe 7, we don't know yet. But think of the thing in the black text as one course. Once you're done with it, turn off your brain and shift to another course, which is week 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, okay? E8, 9, 11, 12, all the way until 12, we're going to talk about electronics, which are elements that are used to control the power flow. We'll talk about operational amplifier, inverting amplifiers, non-inverting amplifiers. We'll talk about design of simple amplifiers, nonlinear limitations, differential instrumentation amplifiers. We'll have the Eid holiday. So these classes will be during Ramadan, inshallah. Then we'll talk about the diodes, الصمام, like the valve in mechanical engineering. Then we'll have ideal diode model, piecewise linear model. We talk about Zener diode, which is another device. We'll talk about rectifier circuits, wave shaping. And this is electronics course. The thing in 8 through 12 is what we call it electronics. Okay? So I told you the course is electric circuits and electronics and digital designs, microcontrollers in the lab. The last element of the course is week 13, 14, 15, 16. We'll talk about digital design. الدوائر المنطقية. We'll talk about basic logic circuit concept, truth tables, true, false, binary signals, numerical data in binary form 1, 0, 0, 1. We'll talk about combinational logic circuits. We may drop this topic because it's not needed. But we'll talk about instrumentation, الحساسات, sensors, signal conditioning, analog to digital converter. Once you measure the pressure in the valve, how are you going to make the signal in a readable manner? You make it as a signal, you read it. Okay? Last day of class is May 11. The final exam will be determined later once they release the schedule through the registrar office. The exam is common. Major exams are also common. It will be, I don't know, maybe at night. Most likely we'll have different rooms. And that's the schedule. So any question about the schedule of the course? Now I promise you, I'm gonna make this course as easy as possible, given you do the work. If you do not do the work, it's gonna be very hard to absorb the concepts. Especially in the first 3 or 4 weeks, you have to pay high attention, because once you master these skills, they are needed for all the rest of the material up until here, but here you'll have other skills. Now, the way I tell students is once we finish the lecture, re-watch it. Re-watch it on YouTube. Okay? Re-watch it on YouTube. I think it's better. Review the slides. Re-watch it maybe the same day or the following day. I'll try to post it. I will try. If we have problems with today's video, I will let you know we missed it, we lost the recording, etc. Okay? It's still working. Any question about the topics that we're going to cover? Hi, Shabab? Does it sound scary? Anybody is a little bit nervous from the course? Yeah, why?
A lot of lingo that I don't understand.
We'll teach. It's my job to teach. My job is to deliver a high quality education for you. I'm not going to give you a hard time. Except when I see an attempt to cheat. Khalas, it's over. When I see an attempt to cheat, it's not worth it. Let me tell you a story. One time I was teaching a course and there were 3 students. There was some coding during the exam, which we will not have. But they had a function or method, you call it. If they did not solve the whole problem, they would still have gotten an A. If they just did nothing, but because they cheated, they jumped from A to, I'm not going to say the grade, but it's not an A, because they cheated. If they left the question empty, they would still have gotten an A. So it's not worth it, especially when it comes to multiple classes sections. It's not worth it. It is really not worth it. So please make sure, if you don't understand, ask. I don't know. Can you repeat? I will repeat. I don't care. Even if we remove certain topics. For me, if you absorb 70% of the material, I would rather drop the 30%, but you understand the 70%. Especially the first 10 weeks. Because the first 10 weeks are important. Now, the last element, it's important, but you're mechanical engineers or aerospace. Any software? You're the only one aerospace, right?
No, I'm here aerospace.
You're aerospace. Okay. And you're not taking the lab, right?
Oh, actually, I'm taking the lab.
Do you have to take the lab, or it's elective, or what?
I don't know. I registered when I
Ask.
registered the course. I registered the lab.
Ask the advisor.
Okay.
You don't have to take the lab.
No, I just registered without.
I don't know. Maybe you're different curriculum.
No, I went to portal.
I'm electrical. Please talk to your advisor. Okay? Double check. Okay? Make sure it counts. I don't know. Okay? But the mechanical, you're taking the lab right now. So, for the lab instructors, labs are designed to be taught independently. So do not tell the lab instructor, دكتور ما غطى هذه في المحاضرة. Because you're going to find topics that are not discussed in the class. Okay? But I would personally try to visit you during the labs, double check on you every time. And that's my job. For me, I care about you guys, okay? Trust me, I care about you. I want you guys to get the highest average, the 2 sections compared to the average. So let's make it a competition and a promise from you. We're gonna rock the average and we're gonna get we're gonna prepare you very good, okay? So let's talk about the policy. We already described the course. All of you took Math 102, Physics 102. None of you is EE, صح? We will not cover these topics. So make sure that circuit-dependent sources will not cover it. Power factor correction will not cover it. Load line analysis for diode and xenodiode will not cover it. So homework will be posted for each chapter. We will try to post it relevant to the chapter so that you study the chapter and then you do the homework. So expect once we finish chapter 1, we'll have homework 1. Once we finish chapter 2, we'll have homework 2. Maybe homework 2 will have chapter 2 will have 2 homework. After deadlines, we will post the solution. This means we will not accept late homework. If it's gone, it's gone. Okay? If you don't want to submit the homework, just write a statement. Oh, I would solve this homework using this method. You'll get some partial credit. Just submit something. Okay? If before the deadline, if you did nothing, just problem 1. I will solve it using this method. Problem 2. At least you will not get 0. Get it? Let me repeat. If you don't want to do the homework, you don't have time, write a statement on how would you solve it if you had time. This way you will not get 0, because you wrote something. I don't want to see empty assignments, okay? Because we will not allow makeup for homework at all. Now if you have excuses, maybe we'll talk about merging the grades of the homework to less if you have excuse. But because if we post the solution, there is no point of the homework. Now, the first 5 absences is not counted. We'll start counting 6, 7, and 8. The 9 is the end. 6, 7, 8. So you lose 1.5 point. 9, the end. The 9th absence is the end. Mush, free 9, and then the end. 9 absence, حرمان. خلاص? Are we clear with that? And I will follow with you guys. information is subject to change. We may change everything if we find if it's in the best interest of the class to change it. So maybe one time if we notice students didn't do well in the major exams, maybe we'll change it to maybe 18 and we'll increase the final. We'll see. So any question about the syllabus?
When will be the deadline for the homeworks? Typically, Thursday.
Most likely, I don't know, but we'll try to make it end of the weekend. That's what I notice the best.
Can you try to make it on Saturday?
No. Oh, Saturday, yeah. Saturday evening, Saturday before midnight, and you will submit it online. Now, if you have paper submission, you can. I'm not going to do submit it during class time. I think it's waste of time. I think it's waste of time, waste of resources, waste of. If you write it by hand, make sure you drop it under the door of my office. And we might have TAs by then. Okay? Any question? Okay, let me take my my little break. Okay, so let's start now the lecture. So, my name is Abdulaziz Al-Beyman. I'm an assistant professor at the EE department. I'll be teaching this course. The slides are based on Dr. Ahmed Umar's slides. I know a couple of you, they have Dr. Atiyah's slides, but stick with my slides, okay? Because I will be involved in writing the test. And if I see something missing or whatever, I will let you know. A little bit about myself. My name is Abdulaziz Al-Beyman. This is my education background. I graduated from KFUPM with electrical engineering long time ago. Got my master's in electrical and computer engineering and cybersecurity from Georgia Tech and my PhD from Georgia Tech. My area of specialization is energy conversion systems, renewable energy integration, power system protection and control, cyber physical security and power systems. And my thesis was in multi-objective optimization for permanent magnet and induction machines. So I do have some mechanical engineering research experience. After I finished my undergrad, I worked with Aramco for almost like a year and a half. Then I worked for a company called DHX Electric Machines, and I worked for Dominion Energy. Those two jobs were in the United States as an intern. It was not full-time. You can connect with me by LinkedIn. I will accept your invitation. It's my X account if you want to send me a direct message if you have questions or anything. I find it easier than checking the email. Sometimes I don't check the emails, but this, if you have something that you want me to check. This is my official page at KFUPM. If you go to EE, you can find where is my office, etc. and the email. You can also use Teams, okay? So multiple communication with it. Now, if there is a big emergency, call me in Teams, okay? If you have big emergency, something very bad happening, call me. I don't feel embarrassed, okay? Call me on Teams. I'm pretty much responsive. Okay, now the syllabus, we already talked about it. I told you the course content is 3 components. Circuits, electronics, digital design. If you fail in this, it doesn't mean you will fail in that. It doesn't mean it's independent, okay? That's what makes this course heavy. It's a bit heavy, but it's useful for you guys. It's useful for you because I'm pretty sure one of you will end up working with Saudi Electricity Company. Pretty sure. I bet one of you, after finishing KFUPM, will be working with the Saudi Electricity Company. And if you work with Saudi Electricity Company and they tell you, oh, okay, go to this substation, you will have some electrical engineering understanding, and this will help you in your career. I want you guys to avoid the unnecessary suffering. I don't want you to suffer. So I have understanding that you guys are more designed into solving imaginable problems in electrical engineering. Our problems are cannot physically touch it. So I'll try to make sure to cover these concepts and explain it to you to the best that I can. If you have feedback, you can send me email, you can send me with anonymous accounts. I'll let you know about later about anonymous thing if you want to report cheating, for example, or report a suggestion and you don't want me to your name. I will have I'd have it on LinkedIn on Blackboard, a link to send anonymous comments if you don't want me to know your identity. So please come on time. There is no need to come 2 minutes late because we will be starting at 10 sharp. Silent cell phones. It's a 50-minute lecture, so time is very limited. Okay? Anybody wrote their names in the attendance? Okay. To get a high grade, attend class. If you skip classes, we will know. And we have seen those who skip classes, they usually do not perform well because once you skip one lecture, if you attend the third lecture and you miss the second one, you will be lost in the third one. So even if you, that's why I'm recording the lecture, so that if you miss the lecture, you can watch it before attending the third lecture. Okay? Do the homework, study for the quizzes as if they are on final exams. And solve the old exams. I'm giving you the old exams. I want you to solve them. But after studying the slides, okay? Do not go ahead and start solving the old exams because you will burn the questions. تحرق الأسئلة على نفسك. I want you to solve the old exams after studying the material. And then you can judge, oh, I have a weakness in this point. Maybe I need to go to Abdul Aziz and he will teach me more about it. Come anytime to my office. If the door is open, come. Okay? My job is to deliver a high quality education for you. If you need help, please reach. That's my job, okay? I'm more than happy to hear from you guys. So if you have any suggestions, if you have any questions, reach out to me. Even if it's a trivial question, even if it's a simple math equation you cannot solve, ask me. I'm here to help, okay? If you find some problems in my teaching style, you'll feel bored. The worst thing is if you feel bored. If you feel bored, wallahi ya shabab, if you feel bored, I would rather you go take a walk, buy a coffee and come back. I'm not gonna take it against you. لو زهقان في المحاضرة مالك خلق روح خذ لك كوب قهوة وارجع ما راح أخصم. تبي تروح دورة المياه بسلامتك. اللهم انك تحضر المحاضرة عشان يعني تسجل انك حاضر. بس إذا أنت زهقان مليت من شرحي الباب مفتوح بدون استئذان. Again, do not abuse the system. تمام؟ تمام يا شباب؟ إذا طفشان مالك خلق مصدع يا أخي روح خذ لك قهوة وارجع. أهم شيء تحضر يعني. تبغى تشوف جوالك شوفه وقت المحاضرة ما عندي مشكلة، بس لا تطلع صوت. لا يطلع تزعج. تبغى تشوف جوالك جاك واتساب جاك إيميل ما عندي أي مشكلة. في النهاية أنت اللي مستفيد. وش يقولون صاحب الحاجة أحق بحملها. هذه مقولة في الحياة. في النهاية أنا أبغى مصلحتكم وأبغاكم تطلعون من هذا الكورس بفهم وبذكرى حسنة تذكرون فيه بالخير ويذكركم بالخير. ما أبغى أعطي حد دي إن، ما أبغى أحد ياخذ دي أو يعني أنا ما أبغى أنزعج لما أحد يحمل المادة. فتعاونوا معي أتعاون معاكم. الاحترام لابد يكون موجود. الغش في النهاية مهم إنك تتجنبه. إذا أنت عندك صعوبة في الكورس ما أنت فاهم تعال أشرح لك. تعال جروب ما أنتم فاهمين الله يحييكم أي وقت. هذه وظيفتي هذا عملي. تمام يا شباب؟ Now, all of you have done this in elementary school. You have a battery, connect the plus and the minus, you have a lamp and you have a breaker. A circuit breaker in mechanical engineering or aerospace engineering is like a valve, sammam. It prevents the, if you don't want the electricity to flow, you open the circuit, the electricity is not flowing. So think of the battery as a water dam. Okay? Set ma'i. It has a potential. We're measuring it from 0 to plus. So here it's 0, here is 9 volt. This battery is 9 volt. it is equivalent of saying the pressure between this point and that point in terms of energy storage is 9 volt. Now I have a voltage drop here. I'm connecting the black cable, which is in the battery actually at the bottom. Physically, lithium والأشياء هذه at the bottom is connected here to the negative, and then we close the circuit. So between the red and the black cable, we have voltage difference of 9 volt. كأن السد المائي فيه له pressure of 9 pound per whatever, Pascal, whatever. As long as the circuit is closed, the electricity, which is equivalent to the fluid or the water, in a water dam example, can flow. So the water will flow from the red, the high voltage, through the circuit breaker. If it's closed, it will move. If it's open, it will not move. Opposite with the valve. If the valve is closed, صمام. If it's closed, it will not allow the flow. If the valve is open, it will allow the flow. That's a fundamental difference about, okay, if the circuit is closed, it's not like if the valve is closed. Get it? So now, is the breaker open or closed?
Open.
If it was a valve, would it be open or closed?
Close.
Get it? So now I'm closing the circuit and opening the line. The connection is connected. If you stuck in the exam, think of it as mechanical engineering. Pressure, liquid. Solve it as if you're solving a typical mechanical engineering problem. Now, why the lamp will emit the lights? We'll talk about the electronics component. It usually involves the photons, etc.
The concept for the battery means that if we have the head at the bottom, we will have no voltage if we flip it. Because you said from 0
Well, this has to do with passive or non-passive energy. If you have the battery and you flip it, it will still be working. Because the lamp and the breaker, they get the assignment of plus and minus based on the connection. If you flip the lid, it's still the same.
No, I mean if we connect the wires at the bottom of the battery.
You will not have a voltage drop. So it means the red was connected to the black in the same battery.
No, at the bottom.
اللوحة هذه.
لا الباتري نفسه.
Well, this battery has 2 hits on the top. It doesn't have, it's not like the double A, it has plus or minus at the 2 sides. This battery is the plus or minus in the top. زي بطارية السيارة. بطارية السيارة من فوق. بس الدبل A والتريبل A battery you have plus and minus من الجهتين. بيش سؤالك؟
انت قلت انه من 0 الى 9 فولت من البطارية نفسها. جالس اتكلم عن تكوين البطارية كيف المانيفاكتشرنج بروسس حق البطارية نفسها.
It has to do with the liquid, الليثيوم وما الليثيوم والانود والكاثود. لها علاقة بالانود والكاثود حق البطارية.
انه على اي اساس اسفل البطارية 0 فولت.
It depends on the design of the battery. If the battery is double A battery, then the anode and the cathode is designed that way. This is not electrical engineering, this is more material science. Chemical engineering, they design batteries. But it's here, anode and cathode. You put 2 plates, they have different chemical properties. Because of the difference in chemical properties, the electrons would flow. Now if you can have liquid base, you can have lithium, you can have any sort of battery you want. Now, with the electric vehicles, there is a new batteries coming. You can create a battery of a liquid, you can create a battery of you can generate a signal that acts like a battery, which is in transmission lines. If you have an electric machine and you spin the motor, it acts like an AC battery, sinusoidal signal. So that how the batteries are moving the chemicals, the anode and the cathode, if it's on the top, it depends on the design. We will not cover this topic, but we can discuss about it later. Hamas? Now let's talk about Chapter 1. Chapter 1, we're going to talk about overview of electrical engineering. We're going to talk about circuits, current and voltages, power and energy, قانون كرشوف الأول اللي هو كرشوف current law, كرشوف voltage law, كرشوف KCL and KVL. Those are like the same in the physics, but in the physics the circuits were simple. Here the circuits are bigger, so we're going to study methods on how to simplify the circuit from big to small, so that you can apply Ohm's law directly. Okay? So this course, the more circuits you solve, the more you master the skill. The more you solve, the more you master. Okay? From its component, its analysis. So you need to practice. You need to solve the problems. The more you solve, the more you practice. If you do not solve and you show up in the exam, you will have a brain freeze and you will not be able to solve. That's why we have quizzes. I'll be teaching, I'll be solving problems in front of you. We will do extra sessions because 50 minutes is not enough. Now, overview of electrical engineering. 2 reasons why we have electric signals. The most common reason is to gather, store, and process information. المعلومات. You process them in a very low voltage, in a binary signal. So, number 1 of electrical engineering is to gather, store, process, transport, and present information. اللي هي تقنية المعلومات. This has to do with electronics, communications, digital signal processing, etc. The second reason is to distribute, store, and convert electrical energy. أبراج الكهرباء. أبراج الكهرباء is another application, very high voltage level. You guys are mechanical. You need to worry about reason number 2. نظم الطاقة الكهربائية. If you are aerospace, you need to worry about 1 and 2. If you're a mechanical engineer and you become a control engineer, you need to worry about 1 and 2. But generally, if you want to improve your electrical engineering skills as a mechanical engineer, my advice, focus on point number 2, high voltage levels. 1 is low voltage levels. There are areas of power systems, like mechanical engineering. Mechanical, you have corrosion. What do you have else? You have heat transfer, thermodynamics, stress analysis, maybe it's civil and mechanical, dynamical, whatever, structural analysis, vibration. In electrical engineering, we have the same. We have power systems, which is my area, نظم الطاقة الكهربائية. We have communication systems. We have computer control systems. الكهرومغناطيسية, electromagnetics. We have electronics, photonics, and signal processing. The whole machine learning, AI, it's usually within the signal processing. And they are very good at it, okay? But my area is power systems, and I can teach you more about it if you're interested in doing research or solving problems in renewable energy as a mechanical engineer. Or you come and contact me. Power is a huge. We have in Saudi Arabia, we have Ministry of Energy. وزارة كاملة بالطاقة, which involves unconventional resources, النفط والغاز, but also a huge part of it is electricity. And you, as a mechanical engineer, you have a very high potential to excel in these companies. Because mechanical engineers, they are well trained to deal with mechanical systems, but teaching themselves about the gray area where they meet is the electricity generation. To generate electricity, you need to spin the motor. To spin the motor, you need mechanical engineering. Once you spin the motor, you can generate electricity. I find lots of my mechanical engineering friends, they work with generation facilities more, because they study the torque, is the machine spinning, is the magnets well lined up. So it's a very huge potential. You're not wasting your time by taking EE234. And I want you guys to prepare yourself once you have an interview with Saudi Electricity Company or Aramco with the power utility, any power utility company, Al-Fanar, what other, there's lots of companies, Aqua Power, they hire mechanical engineers. That's why you need to take this course. If you don't like it, it is what it is. You have to live with it. Okay? If you don't like it, come tell me, I don't like it, and I will tailor your understanding because you don't like it. That's okay. Why you need? Because it's a core requirement. I think it opens one course. mechanical, صح? Which course it opened? So you have to deal with it. You have to deal with it. I'm sorry. In the past, mechanical engineers used to take two courses, 204 and 306, which is the machines. And they take 2 labs, but they decided to make it in one course. Okay? You need to communicate with engineers. Every project in industry, they have 1 mechanical, 1 electrical, 1 chemical, 2 civil, and maybe 1 industrial. And they work together. And you as a mechanical engineer, you need to prove yourself in front of an electrical engineer. You need to know what they're doing, because they are also taking courses that teaches them how to do mechanical engineering. Okay, any questions about why we're taking this course? Now, if you really don't want to take the course, talk to the chairman of mechanical engineering, okay? But they might find a way. Tell them, I cannot do it. Maybe they will find a replacement course. Try to watch this video. It will take some time. But this video talks about how the electrons move in a conductor. The electrons move from between the atoms. The movement of the electrons between the atoms is what creates the electricity. Now, the unit of a charge is C, coulomb, صح? If you have a conductor, these electrons are moving at a rate. The more they move, in 1 second, the higher the current. So the current is flow of electrons per the unit of time. So it has the unit of coulomb per second, which is what we call amp. So the ampere is how much electrons are flowing in 1 second. And the طابلون في البيت, if it tolerates very high amps, it means it tolerates a huge flow of electrons in 1 second. People say, oh, الأمبير حق عالي, which is خطأ شائع خير من صواب ضائع. تفضل.
Usually we care about the voltage or the current and everything.
We'll talk about that later, but let me tell you this rule of thumb and keep it in mind. If you have a very high voltage, you usually have a smaller current. If you have a very small voltage, you usually have a higher current. So if you see those transmission lines in the highways, they have 115 kilovolts, but they might have 100 amp. But if you see those maybe distribution lines in the neighborhood, 13 on the underground, the one that comes to your home, you might find the current maybe, well, the transmission line 10 amps. At home, the feeders to your home maybe 100 amp. So you care about both because the power is voltage times current. So if you want to transfer the same amount of power in a high voltage environment, you really need to reduce the current. If you decide to drop the voltage, you really need to increase the current. We'll talk about later what are the consequences of high voltage, what are the consequences of low voltage. But in general, you care about both. Okay? We'd already talked about this circuit. Electricity will not move unless the breaker is closed. If the breaker is open, it's not move. And I will create a fake problem to you. I would say, okay, we have a battery here, and we have a breaker here, and then we have a resistor here, and then we have a resistor there that jumps over here. And I tell you, what is the voltage across this resistor? There is no electricity moving, so the voltage drop is 0. But what is the voltage here? whatever the battery, maybe 9 volt. That's a simple problem. If you close it, then the drama begins. Once the drama begins, we need to do, okay, how much current here, how much current there. You, as a mechanical engineer or aerospace engineer, you need to have an understanding of what is equivalent. Think about it as, again, pressure is voltage, water flow is current. This is the water dam. The higher the voltage, we expect the higher the current. But that's not true, because it depends on the width of the pipelines. If the pipe is so narrow, then we expect a huge flow. If the pipes are so huge, very little. And the width of the pipeline is what we call it the resistance, or al-muqawama, how much it resists. So a very narrow pipeline corresponds to a high. So 4 is narrower than 2 ohms. It means less current will flow. I'm sorry. 4 is wider in terms of mechanical. So the more resistance it resists, we expect less current to move. The wider it is less resistive, which means it will allow more current. So now, because they are in series, it's like having thin and wide. The voltage drop across them will be different. We'll talk about this later. But in general, the word resistor, it will resist. What is the act of resisting? What it will generate? It will generate a voltage drop. A volt begin once the current flows through a resistor. So if it flows through the 4 ohm resistor, the voltage drop is higher. If it flows through the 2 ohm resistor, the voltage drop will be smaller because of Ohm's law, which we will talk about it later. Again, in a typical power system, you get the source, you get the wires, you get the switch, and you get the load. So for the car, you have the battery, which acts as the voltage source. Then you have the cables, they are the wires. And then you have a switch of the car. I think Bawajis can act like a source. And then you get the headlamps. This is a very simple electric system. The headlamps, once you open the light lamps or the auto light, this is the electric switch. So those are the components. So the lamps, we represent them as resistors. The fan, we represent it as a resistor. The heater, the fire, it's a resistive element. Keep that in mind. You always have a source, which is the water dam. You will always have the pipelines, and you will always have the loads, or means of getting benefit, getting the energy in a manner that is useful to us, which can be light, which can be heat, which can be mechanical movement, which can be anything. Now, still have 1 more minute. I usually reserve the last minute to wrap up the lecture. So any questions before we wrap up the lecture? Yes.
So whenever the voltage runs through a resistor, it's a drop. This is a factor.
The moment you apply potential difference, which is equivalent to a voltage across a resistive element, the current will flow from the high voltage to the low voltage. We will illustrate with an example. But given the circuit is closed, the circuit is open, like what we had before, you're not applying the voltage. Think of it now. Think of it as the battery system. If the switch is closed, if the battery this one has 12 volt, Ohm's law, V equal IR. V is 12, R is 4 plus 2 in series, 6. 12 divided by 6 is 2. This is the basic. Now, the problem comes when you have different loads. Like how many loads we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you have 9 resistors. How are you going to analyze this system? That's what we're teaching you in this course. This is easy. You did this in high school. But this is hard. You even didn't do it in Physics 102. Now, Physics 102 talks about, you have a capacitor, you put a battery, then you put a capacitor here, and then you talk about, okay, in time, we're going to charge. And then once you disconnect it, you add a resistor and then discharge. We will talk about these things, but this is what you mainly cover in physics on 102. Again, we will navigate through this course together. I'll try. My job is to make sure that you guys understand. Time is up. If you want to leave, you can leave. Yes, please.
Battery, current and voltage, or one of them is voltage?
البطارية has energy. Once you apply it on a resistor, a voltage drop will happen. يا شباب اللي ما حضر يحضر. لما تحط الجهد الكهربائي البطارية تعطيك energy which is voltage times current. We'll explain it later مع الوقت. بس البطارية تعطيك energy, not voltage, not current. What is energy? Voltage times current. فهمت علي؟